Welcome to the Thought Brothers. I'm Gary Johnson, aka Mr. Producer. We've got a special guest here today, Ms. Monét. She's probably the best singer you never heard of until now. And so she's here with the Thought Brothers. I first saw Ms. Monét earlier this year on the Smooth Jazz Cruise. And once you hear her, I was sucked in, man. I could not stay away. And so I'm so glad that she's here on the show with the Thought Brothers. Mr. Spivey, aka the researcher, we're going to throw the mic over to you and just introduce yourself to Ms. Monét.
Ms. Monét, my name is Bill Spivey. They call me the researcher,
Yeah.
but I just like to do my homework. I like to be prepared,
Yeah.
and I couldn't agree with Gary more. I mean, I was mesmerized listening to several of your songs today, but the one that really got me was At This Time. I mean, I listened to the words, and it's like they always joke me because I always talk about Gladys Knight. She's my favorite artist, and I usually go to bed at night listening to Gladys, and she puts me to sleep. But I listened to that song, and it reminded me so much of what music used to be like. And I just really want to compliment you because the song had a message. Now, I don't know if when I listened to it, whether some guy unfortunately hurt you or something, but when I heard the words, what do you think I would do at this moment when I stand before you with tears in my eyes? Just you don't love me anymore. It was bad. Well, I just wanted to ask you, what made you go to this line of music rather than what everybody's doing today with the rap and all of the other genres?
I'm a lover of music of all genres and everything, and I am, let's just say, growing up, I was exposed to a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
So when it comes to me as an artist, I don't limit myself. I don't put myself in a box. I just do what feels good. And I tend to lean towards songs or music or stuff that I've written that I just want it to feel good. I want when you hear it, you get the message. When you hear it, you feel you feel warm and tingly or whatever. It's important for me that that's always conveyed, that that's always put out there. I think a lot of artists sometimes forget to do that in their music or in their songs, presentations, and whatever. So that was always my thing. Like, what would I want to sit if I was watching an artist? How would I want to feel? How would I want to feel? And I want to feel moved. I want to feel like, wow, gosh, I want to leave a concert or leave that like that. Wow, that really did something for me. Because people are going through things and we don't know what people are dealing with. And I'm always conscious about that. Someone coming to show, they may have just had a fight, they may have just lost their parent, whatever is going on, life is life, and right? So at that moment, whatever it is, I want to be able, if they hear a Miss Monet song, that they can grasp it and take something away from it and allow it to just, oh, excuse me, allow it to be healing for them. So I'm always conscious about music being healing. So that's why I tend to lean towards songs that just give you that kind of feeling.
Well, listening to that, it gave me that kind of feeling because you ended the song by saying you would get on your knees and kiss the ground you walk on.
Walk on.
If
Yeah,
if I could just hold you again. I
yeah.
mean, it was a touching song. And
Thank you.
when I listened to it, it kind of made me think it was a signature type song because we had a young lady on here that was really amazing to me, and her name was Beth Manley, and
Hmm.
she was on The Voice at one time, and her
Hmm.
signature song was "I've Already Won." So I
Hmm.
took this to sound like a signature song of yours. Was I wrong or right?
You were right. You're right. You're right. Now I'm gonna take you back even a little bit more though. So I didn't write that piece. I can't take credit for being the writer of that song. That song was written by and originally recorded by a man named Billy Vera. He had a group called
Yeah,
Billy Vera and the Beaters back
yeah.
in the early 80s. And he released this song, and this song actually became very popular because I want to say it was a sitcom, Full House or something, one of those kind of sitcoms back in the day. And it was the song that they played as the last episode. and everything. And it resonated and grew from that sitcom. And I remember feeling like this is just such a poignant song when I rediscovered it myself. And I said, I would love to do a song that would represent me as a vocalist and allow me the opportunity to showcase who I am as an artist. Let this piece be like Whitney's I Will Always Love You. That was my idea going in when I
Right.
recorded it. I wanted it to be something that when people hear, you say, well, who is Miss Monét? And you say, go listen to At This Moment.
Yeah.
Come back to me. So,
Well,
and
that's the way I was.
thank you.
Last but not least, I did research on the people you have dealt with.
Mhm.
I see you started off with Huey Lewis. I was
Yeah.
like, and then Faith Hill and Tim McGraw and Michael McDonald, who's one of my favorites with Patti
Yeah.
LaBelle. So I mean, you've been around and you've
I've
been all,
been, oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I started with Huey Lewis when I was 17. Graduated
Wow.
from high school, walked stage in June, and in July I was on the plane on my way to Europe for 3 months with Huey Lewis and the News.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, they were my very first. So we blame them because of Miss Monet. Blame Huey Lewis and the News.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm not gonna take all the time from the brothers. I know we don't have a lot of
The
time,
show was
so
Family Ties. Family
Family
Ties.
Ties. Yes, Family
Yeah,
Ties.
Michael J. Fox.
That was it. Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
Carlos, and then we got CJ before
All
we let Ms. Monet go.
right, Miss Monet, thank you for
Yes,
joining the show. Welcome.
absolutely.
My name is Carlos Perlman, aka the financial analyst. Um,
Right.
so I just got to ask two questions that I know are so important in any career field you choose.
Yes.
One, why do you do what you do? And then from the financial side, we see a lot of success stories, and we see a lot of stories that aren't successful. How do
hmm
you manage the day-to-day finance and lifestyle with something that you love to do?
Gosh, good question. Thank you for asking. I do what I do because this is what God intended me to do. He gave me a voice to use and to use it in a way, just send a message. I used to say I sing, I sing, I sing, but now I say no, this is my ministry. This is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do. I realized that more so when I represented the United States at the World Expo. And I'm like, I'm on a world stage now. And and after doing that and seeing, what my voice did and changing in people. I mean, I'm seeing women when they have their faces covered and they're ripping it off because there was just a sense of freedom. I said, this is now my ministry. So that's why I do what I do, because it's something about being able to be an ambassador of goodwill and an ambassador of just of healing. Again, I was saying earlier, there's so much going on in the world right now that I think that we're forgetting to just love again, just be in touch with one another again. Everyone's like this now. You know what I mean? We don't talk to each other anymore. We don't converse. We don't, it's a lot of things going on. So I'm always like, okay, let me be a voice that at this moment, when you come to a show, if we hear Miss Monet's song, it gives you some type of comfort, some type of healing. So that's why I do what I do, because I'm in that spirit of just giving and allowing it to be reciprocal, because it heals me too. It's therapy for me as well to perform. From a financial point of view, I can honestly say I've been blessed to do what I've been doing. I haven't had a 9 to 5 since 1998. I've just been
Congratulations.
singing. I've just been singing and God has been good, you know what I mean, through it all. Um, Always was very, very smart with financing, knowing what to do and knowing how to save, because now I'm an independent artist. I work for myself and you gotta save your money. You gotta know what to do. So I made some good investments. As I got older and everything, I got into real estate and I started purchasing homes and things like that. And it just kind of built on my real estate portfolio, and it afforded me to have the lifestyle that I have, and I'm still building within it. And I'm happy about the decisions I've made. But you're right, I try to encourage and also um, help other people, other artists that I know as well, to say, no, this is steps you want to take, get into this, look into that, look into real estate, look into something like that, where you can invest your money and, allow it to compound, go into compounding, understand what all these things mean, because you're going to need it, especially when COVID hit. My industry was gone. Yeah, it was gone, right? I couldn't sing, I couldn't do anything, couldn't do none of the stuff like that. But, I was blessed enough to say I was able to sit back because I had the resources that I had saved for that rainy day. That rainy day came in 2020, and so I was able to just kind of withstand and everything. So I try to be as informative as I can amongst my peers to show them another way of what to do and how to do it. So that's how I was able to kind of keep abreast and continue to do so as I'm getting ready to purchase another house here in Las Vegas.
Wow, Miss Monét, that's powerful, because I think a lot of people put all their eggs in one basket. They look for that one employer to give them everything they want in life. And I think the key, from what I just heard from you and what I've heard from several people I've spoken to recently, is you gotta, like you say, diversify a little bit. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. You don't know if that one basket to the left is if it's gonna break, and when it's gonna break. So you got to have a couple baskets going. So
Yeah.
outstanding. And my last thing I have to ask you is, if back a long time ago when I was a teenager, I love that song, "The Power of Love." So you gonna tell me I'm on the show right now with somebody who was singing back up for Huey Lewis, and you were singing some of that "Power of Love" for him?
Power of Love, I Want a New Drug. My favorite song was Heart and Soul.
Heart and soul.
This is it, all the songs. And I had a just imagine, see, because my thing was MTV, when MTV came out, it just blew my mind as a kid, right? So I was just like, so you seen all the videos and, being exposed to, not just, the genres of music that was even though every genre was played in my home, but now we seeing visuals with this music that I was hearing on the radio. So I'm being exposed to Huey, I'm being exposed to Led Zeppelin, I'm being exposed to David Bowie, and being exposed to, of course, Michael Jackson and Thriller. They played Thriller every hour on the hour that day. I mean, I'm seeing visuals, but Huey Lewis, being from the Bay Area, I'm an Oakland girl, and they're, a San Francisco based band. And I was like, that they were our hometown heroes, right? So when I had the opportunity to sing with them, I was like, of course. I felt the same way when, Boss Skaggs asked me to sing with them. I'm like, you're Boss Skaggs, you're Lowdown, you're JoJo. What are you talking about? Love, look what you've done to me. So yeah, just amazing to just be able to sing those songs and have these people as my, bosses, but now very dear friends.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I mean, that was some great perspective on one of my favorite bands growing up back in the day. And my daughter even told me the other day, she saw, was that Back to the Future? And she said she thought about me when she heard Huey Lewis blow "The Power of Love."
Uh-huh.
All right, CJ.
Yep.
CJ,
Hey, yes.
CJ's our musician, so get in there.
Hey, CJ.
Yes. How you doing? Yes, I play guitar and write songs here in the DC area. And
Nice.
as somebody who's familiar with the industry a bit, I would like your, I guess your input on the state of the industry, someone who's been in it for, a while at the highest levels with the highest people.
Yeah.
And your thoughts on the changing of the music industry from AI to streaming to TikTok, and the effect that that has had from, used to just sell records, and now the
Yeah.
profit, motive is all over the place, and you got to be a
Yeah.
content creator. And, could you speak to, how the music industry has evolved, especially in the last decade or so?
Exactly. Thank you. Good question. I was just having this conversation with another colleague of mine yesterday, I believe. And it's interesting. It's putting, especially us as independent artists, in a very unfamiliar place. It's like, what do we do? Because we don't have the same outlets or ways or doors to go through. It used to be, okay, you can get a record label, you go to label, get a deal, or you try to get a publishing deal or whatever, and even labels are no longer anymore. They're not signing, they're not doing anything. I had a friend tell me, he was talking to Geffen, David Geffen, not too long ago, and Geffen was like, unless you got, these crazy amount of followers from on TikTok and all the stuff, that's the only way they're paying attention to you. And I'm like, well, what about legacy artists? What about independent artists? What happens to them? So we really have to create our own lanes and develop our own ways of going through this pathway, because we don't have the blueprint anymore. It's not, or the formula that it was once before. again, scenarios like AI. I just recently saw, I'm sure you probably saw about Timberland and him creating this artist via AI. And I felt some kind of way a little bit, you know what I mean? Because I was like, okay, you would invest X amount of dollars in creating this being that's not a person, but a whole, entity that it's going to be crazy dope because it's just Timberland, right? We know Tim's going to come with it, but at the same time, it's like it's not a real person. And I'm like, well, is this where music's going to go? Well, what happens to those artists like who don't have that and just perform, and we depend on our live performances, things, touring, all those things like that. But when you have scenarios like AI that's kind of wiping that out the way, it makes it harder for us as independent artists, but not to give up. The music, as long as your music is authentic and true to who you are, you have to trust the processes and continue to stay on your own path. So don't give up, just continue, because there's a listener for you. There's someone who's digging you. There's a scenario for you. There's a lane for you. And we just have to constantly remind ourselves to just stay on our path. Because now it is about creating your own space within this whole, world that we have going on, against that. Streaming is another scenario because of, artists, we're not making money off of streaming anymore, at all, literally, but at the same time, they tell you, playlists, all these people get on playlists and everything because it's going to bring up the algorithms and all these things. I'm like, so everything is contingent on algorithms and people, followers and this, that, and everything. And it's like everyone's not savvy. So what happens to these people that are just doing what they've been doing forever? The changing of the guard is here. So, my thing is to say, okay, understand it, say, okay, it is what it is. And again, okay, so where do I fit in? Well, what can I do? What is it that I can do? Because you can only control what you can do. Figure that part out for you. And again, and just trust that process and just stay within the lane of that and everything. Again, you continue to build your instrument, your people, your followers, people who support you and love you, and they will come and they will do what they do. They're not going to let go. I look at, I sing with Will Downing, and we repeat and we come back, and we're every year. I mean, and this man drops a record, I think every 6 months he drops a record, but he does. And I get it because he has his core. Now he has developed his listeners, his base, and as long as he drops it, as they say, if you drop it, they'll listen. If you build it, they'll come. It's the same thing. So I think as artists, we just have to just continue to build our audiences and trust in them that they'll keep artists independent and our music alive.
Yeah, I definitely feel that as an independent artist. Like I've heard many stories where it's like we have to support ourselves now. As you said, the labels don't really do anything anymore. There was a story very similar to what you mentioned where there was a band that was up and coming. They had some great songs. They had maybe like 500,000 followers. And then the record label told them that, hey, we like your music, but the music quality doesn't matter until you have 1 million followers. We won't even consider signing you until you have 1 million followers on your own, like, without our help. And then we might throw some money at you but until you have 1 million followers, no matter how good your songs are, we're not interested.
Doesn't matter.
And that's like the way the industry's gone. So I feel like it's had a effect on the overall quality of pop music in general.
It has. I agree with you because now you're seeing the cookie cutter. You're seeing the repeat. You're seeing, my sister and I joke all the time. We're like, okay, who's that? Jhené Aiko, but Jhené, but she sounds like Ari Lennox, but she sounds like, Queen Aisha. Y'all all sound the same. We have lost, the craftsmanship of becoming artists, stylists. There's this recording of Lou Ross talking about it. I think he was setting up a song, but he talks about artists versus stylists and being a stylist. And that's what we've lost, the art of being a stylist, meaning creating your own vein, being your own entity, being your own signature and everything, not trying to sound like, not trying to be like, not trying to look like, it's the copy paste everywhere. And they're only copy and pasting because it must have worked for someone. So now that says, okay, well, let's run this again, and okay, we might change a little bit of it, but it's still going to be the same thing. Well, you just the same. Do we not want diversity? Do we not want change? You know, but again, if they continue to copy and paste, that's what they do. So that's why independent artists ourselves remain true to who you are, stay a stylist, and create your own thing, and just stay within that. Because again, you have your audience, and your audience is going to help you build. But the industry is crazy. It's on the upside down in my opinion.
Ms. Monét, I promise to get you out of here on time.
We still good. We still good.
Okay, all right.
I'm on in time, so we actually do.
All right, because I want to make sure that you have a chance to tell people where to find you and where to learn more about you.
Yeah, no, we said we got about 15 minutes, so we good.
All right, so we good.
We're good. You can find me. I always say start with my website, missmonet.com. That's MSMONET.com. You start there. And it's all the information is there, video, music, who I am as an artist, dates, performances, and all the things like that. Merchandise. I have my own Miss Monét fan, my Miss Monét magazine, the whole bit, all that's there. But if you're on social media like Instagram, you can go find me at THEE Miss Monét, MSMONET.com, the Miss Monét. On Facebook as Miss Monét or Moniacs, which are my fans, the Moniacs. And on TikTok, Miss Monét, and on Twitter, X as the, Miss Monét. On Twitter, let me rephrase. On Twitter, I am Miss Monét. On TikTok, I am the Miss Monét as well.
Okay. Any final questions from we'll reverse course, CJ, then Carlos, and then end with our researcher. Any final questions from Ms. Monét, CJ?
No final questions. I just want to say I totally agree with your last point that you're making about how so much music is derivative because people are chasing the algorithm, and people are chasing these market trends. As you said, you hit it the nail on the head where it's worked for somebody, so they want to replicate that success, so they try to use that same formula. And then I feel like T-Pain, when he had his viral rant where it's like people are already making it, it's the people already doing what you're doing, so please do something else. We got 7 rappers with baby in their names. We have, like I said, 12 R&B artists, like you said, that sound indistinguishable from each other, all at the top of the charts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think if the labels were to do something these days, artist development and bringing that back would be a great place to start, to have some people, having their own identities and just having some different sounding artists.
And that's the thing, CJ, the labels, they took away the departments of artist development, the A&Rs, to help curate artists to be their thing, versus letting them just go in and do, and nothing wrong with going in and doing your own thing. Prince is the epitome of just, I can do it all, right? But A&R, it was a purpose and a reason for A&R direction, to help you stay on the path, to help you, put together a masterpiece record. That's why records like Off the Wall are amazing, everything. That's why you have these classic, scenario situation. And you look at artists and you look at their legacies from starting to where they are now, especially in our older iconic artists and everything, like some of the ones I just sung with, Michael McDonald, he started as a Doobie Brother. He didn't even want to be an artist. He just wanted to be a side guy and everything, and got kind of pushed up to the front, and now he's, part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but he'll tell you in a minute, it was just me just staying with who I was. I was comfortable in the space of where I was as a player, and then got pushed to the front as an artist. I didn't really want to do it, but he ended up doing it. But he said it was having the direction and someone there to help him kind of go through that process, and allowed him to be. And then again, now here we know Michael McDonald be who he is because of, they said, we want to build on just this distinction of your voice. You are that, there's only one Michael McDonald. You're the only person who sounds like you. You know what I mean? And they knew that, and that's the thing. They keyed in on what makes him unique, what makes him who he was. Same thing with Boz. A lot of people thought Boz, was a black man singing Low Down. And I'm like, no, he is a white guy. Like, what? I'm like, yep, Boz guys, he's from Texas, to be honest with you. They're like, what? But it's just the distinction of his voices. I mean, and that's the cool thing, I being able to sing and work alongside these iconic voices because of who they are. they were in scenarios where they had direction that helped them curate them to be who they are. And now that they've established, think about it. We don't have any repeat Michael McDonald's. You don't have repeat Boz Gaggses. You don't have repeat Arethas. You know what I mean? I mean, we have a lot of people who try to do it, whatever, but remnants of it, of course, all hail to the queen. But those kind of artists was in the heyday of where we had artist development. That's the lost. I think the lost thing that happens with artists, and labels start taking that out. Like I want to say almost a decade ago, start eliminating the A&R, and here we are, copy and paste.
Yeah. Carlos, real quick, anything?
Yeah, Miss Monét, thanks again for joining the show. My question is, who is your favorite artist?
My favorite artist. Gosh, who would be my favorite?
Who is it? Male or female or both? What? Who?
Do I have a favorite? Well, I mean, overall, yeah, my favorite, all time would be Whitney Houston.
All right.
I was going to say, I did the research on him. He had two of them in the interview.
Whitney, I can't, it can't,
We all agree.
Because she was, growing up, and me, growing into my voice and understanding my gift and understanding my instrument. She was the first thing, as I was talking about the videos and everything, she was the first thing I can see that looked like me and represented where I thought I wanted to go. I finally had a visual of this person. She was young enough, I knew who Aretha Franklin was, but that was who my mama was listening to. So that, Aretha was my mama person in my head, but who was for me? Who was for me? And then when Whitney came along and that You Give Good Love, I was like, oh God, I remember I was 12 years old when that came out. And I was like, wow, finally, there's this person that I can understand, I can adhere to. So Whitney Houston would be my one.
Mr. Spivey, close us out, Mr. Spivey. You got anything?
I don't really have a question for her. I just wanted to say I knew the answer to that because I saw an interview that you did, and they asked you who was your two favorite artists, and you said Whitney Houston and Barbra Streisand, and those were two people. I just want to say, stay true to your craft. Your music is a lot like Whitney. We had a show on the best female artists on this show, and there was a lot of different people. Gladys was mine. I think CJ had another one. Carlos had another one. And when the show ended, the top person that won was Whitney Houston. So stay true to your craft.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Ms. Monét, on behalf of the Thought Brothers, thank you for joining us. And we're going to tell when people see this, they'll go, damn, she is one of the best singers I ain't never heard of until now.
Thank you so much.
All right, for Gary Johnson, this is the Thought Brothers, and we are out of here.
Good night.
Take care, folks.
Okay, thank you.
It's BJK calling Miss Monét, and we'll down in here. A two-step groove. Yep. Monét.
Been watching you all night. I'm tempted. I see the sexy other side of you. If what I feel is right, what I'm feeling, that you want me and I want you to. Lord, he's part of me, the need I'm about to expose. Whatever it is, my body wants to do the most. And I like it, can't deny it, while we're dancing close. Can't keep still, 'cause I wanna feel like what you do. Still unreal, boy, you give me chance. Won't you, baby?
Could not believe my eyes when I saw you from way across the room.